Hello, everybody. Today I want to really go over the thinking that goes behind kids, self care, and emotions. And I was reading over a few self care articles in the last couple of days, and self care and awareness of self care has improved tremendously since I first started the process of discovering self care myself. But there seems to be some misunderstanding in the context that it takes. And I generally like to only add to information. I don't want this to seem like I'm taking away from anybody's work, because we all know creation is a lot harder than destruction. So I want to give it the right context. So when we use words to describe self-care, automatically we end up in this tricky situation where I might say you have to sit in your emotions and follow them where they go, and then take that information and apply it to your life. Now, this seems very kind of straightforward. However, the way I've said it is only helpful for somebody who already knows how to do that. You are already starting at the end when I say something like that. And it's very confusing to people that are not at the end, because then how does one do that? And if I can't do it, or even worse, I think I'm doing it, I'm not doing it, it causes a lot of frustration and even more stress and challenge, because now I really feel lost, which is the appropriate reaction. We have to be a little bit more aware of the root of self-care. And I've said this many times, but self-care always lies in the things that you don't know. So when we use words that we do know and apply them to a concept we're not sure of, it causes this kind of negative feedback. I'll give you an example. I once sat down and talked to a younger person, and we're having this conversation. She was having some challenges with sleep. So I asked her, so why do you think you're having these challenges? And she said, I feel like I'm not fully present when I'm doing this thing. I want to be centered. I want to kind of know who I am, be fully me, and express myself. And this sounds very amazing. This child was not very old, a young teenager, and using these words. However, I should point out that she's talking about realities, if you will, that are experienced by, let's say, monks who spend their whole lives training to attain this thing. And this causes a bigger challenge, because to get to these emotional maturities, you must have a certain amount of experience. Well, when you're younger, you don't have much experience. But, and here's the real tricky thing, is you are very emotionally aware. So you might have the sensation, this is possible, but not have the reality that goes along with it. And this thing that you're feeling has tremendous amounts of reality or experience needed before you can even get there. So you'll feel behind the eight ball, if you will, for a very long period of time. If you reach there, you will be frustrated several times before you get to the age of 22. So we want to be very cautious of how we choose to explain things and not really put them out of context. I think this is very important for everybody to be aware of, because we don't want to cause these challenges. And if this challenge is caused, to correct it or to balance it out, you will need somebody kind of, I don't want to say wiser, but even more experienced, more or less, than the experience that's being sought, to put it into right perspective. And there's not many people like that. That causes its own challenge. And so the children will look to their parents and say, well, you know what, I want to be centered in myself. Mom, how do you do that? That is one heck of a question for the young ones to ask you, because half the time we don't know that answer. And again, I point to the fact that these are kind of monk-style lessons and need that kind of devotion to a process of finding, right? That dedicated energy. So we want to be, again, aware of the things that we're saying. I've found through looking through the articles that they use words that are very accurate to the actions, but not to the experience. And that causes its own challenge. So I just wanted to update you guys, because I want to fill in some of those missing pieces so that you can see that there's a little bit more to the puzzle, and not get frustrated in these areas. Or when you hear speech around this kind of thing, that you can add a little bit of insight to the picture for other people and keep things into perspective. Thank you very much for listening. I hope this gives you some insight and gives you some peace of mind and some understanding. Thank you.